Angie people, welcome back to BNR. We were just quickly having a discussion before backstage because it is the custom for BNR to be. You got 9 minutes at the St James's Park. You got 7 minutes at the BNR extra time. But here we are after an impressive debut. After a very impressive debut, Ben has made his comeback. If Liverpool are not going to make signings, BNR are all about making signings. But whether it was a free transfer, opportunistic signing, 100 million star signing, we let you decide that. But it's a big welcome back to Ben, and as ever, an ill Gene. But Gene, if I didn't come up with about 1 million hoodies and a scarf that day, you might have just picked up the phone to me and saying, Asim, I don't feel well. But because I grinded it out,
That's why I'm grinding it out.
and that's why you're grinding it out. But it's a big welcome. There's 228 of you already in the building. Just like Del says, smash the like button and hit the subscribe button, guys and girls. And make sure you head over to Red or Alive as well and show them all the support they deserve. Ben's been banging out the shows on a daily basis, not even daily basis, 2-3 shows on his channel, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Every time I turn on YouTube, Ben is live. So head over and show him the support all those guys deserve. But yeah, it's a big welcome. Ben, what's going on? Did you watch the game? You did watch the game because we were chatting on WhatsApp. I thought it was a proper cup game, man.
It was good, mate. I'm a bit annoyed we aren't in it, to be honest.
You're annoyed with what?
I'm annoyed that we aren't playing because any cup is a good cup. Man City have got that new sign and bounce, haven't they? The excitement's there. The songs are going off. It helps Asim, doesn't it? It does help. You know, I think they brought that kid in at the right time. They had a little bit of a lull, didn't they, in the last couple of league games? And I think he'll give them that little bounce in the step over the next couple of weeks because they need it. And I think they play Arsenal. They're not too far away from that game, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll quickly check. Man City versus Arsenal match. It is 18th of April, so a bit to go yet.
I'm wrong then. Forget about me.
but I get what you're saying because we had that little bounce when Diaz came, didn't we? Spurs were supposed to get him. We pounced because of the relationships. We did a relationship with Porto. I think we gave him about 5 million quid just so they don't go into administration as well. But we fast tracked that because they were sniffing around and he gave us a bounce. And people were saying he's the Mane replacement and this and that. But whatever
I think he got us to the final, him lad, in the Champions League. I think he was the one that got us to the final because I remember being at Benfica away, and him being there drove Liverpool on. I was there at Villarreal. He was the one that came on and turned that game. Yeah. And I don't think you can underestimate. We look like a club that needs a pick-up, Asim.
We look like a club that needs a pickup. I just want to quickly get your thoughts on the Barnsley game before we move on to the squad and what David Ornstein has had to say today. With anything these days with Liverpool, that whenever you go on Twitter at halftime or full time, it's a fan base split. Some are saying, look, we're shy, but we're getting the results. And just like yesterday, it wasn't pretty on paper. It wasn't pretty on the pitch. But at the end of the day, we won 4-1. But sometimes we have to look at who we're playing. And maybe the perception of going away to Fulham and getting a draw, even though it was the last kick of the game, you might get away with it. You most certainly will get away with it, especially considering the second half performance against Arsenal. It's a different perspective, different expectation before and after the game. If you do it against Leeds twice, home to Sunderland, you won't. But it was the same conversation that started again last night, Ben, where, we won 4-1, but the performance was shit. Where were you in the midst of all the discussion?
I don't know, mate. It's become very flat, Anfield, hasn't it? You boys, you've been there this year. It's flat. Football's a bit flat. I think we just have to accept it for what it is at the minute. I know it's not something we should accept, but the performances aren't blistering performances, are they? I think Anfield's crying out for a big tie. I was hoping we were going to get a big team. I know we got Brighton, but I mean, I was hoping for a big... I think the crowd needs it. I think we need a big Real Madrid type of night. Maybe an Arsenal coming to Anfield. I think that as much as the team needs to get up for it more, the crowd needs to get up a bit more for it. But that relies off the team. Do you know what I mean? Overall, the game is a decent game, decent goals. Fuck me, some seriously good goals. It's just we've a problem with letting teams. Doesn't matter the caliber of team, letting them have a go. I just don't know what it is. What makes? Do you know in the last 2 years, probably 3 years, even Klopp's last year, Liverpool have a tendency to give a team like a 2-minute head start in a game, whereby we just stand still and let them get at us, and I can't seem to work out why. I just think it's something we've got to work out pretty quick, because if we don't, we're going to get caught out by someone. And let's be honest, and we'll come into, obviously, I'm sure, Szoboszlai's mistake. But thank God that was Barnsley, for fuck's sake. Do you know if we're playing anyone better than that? They're coming into that game, and that's going 2-2 there. You know, look at for instance, you know when they put up on TNT, it was on TNT, weren't it? They put up the man of the matches. They were struggling to find a Liverpool player. We're at Anfield. Do you know what I mean? So look, it is what it is. We take it for what it is. We're into the next round. But my God, this team's got to start picking up the performances, because you know what? It's boring, regardless if there's 4 goals or not. It's boring. But look, fair play to the manager. He's had a tough year. A lot of things that have not gone his way. So it's another one in his bag, innit, that he's picked up the win. So on we go.
On we go, Gene. Gene, I was going to ask you about Newcastle game, because I knew you watched it. You said to me, I will quickly have a discussion about Ryan Cherki, because we were just chatting behind stage. But just quickly, I know that we were talking about how the fans were split. The fans were split last season as well when Cherki was getting linked, and about the physicality of the player. He doesn't work hard enough. He doesn't track back enough. We have to give him credit. He's adapted to the Premier League really, really well.
He hasn't, to be honest with you, Asim. I think he's been one of the best players, one of the biggest and best signings of the summer. Every time I see the lad play, the fucker turns up every game. Every time he gets the ball, something's happening. And that's the crazy thing about him. Something's going to happen, whether he's going to play a good ball, run out the back four, or, you know, he's got both feet. He can strike a ball. He's got unbelievable skill. And today his goal was fantastic. You know, little bloody back heel 1-2 and slots it home. He's like LFC Eki Teki says, he's a baller, and he's a baller type of player. Yes, there was going to be question marks in terms of his physicality. Does he have the strength? Does he have the pace as well? But boy, has he been a fantastic signing for them. And by signing Semenyo as well as him now, it feels like they're getting their forward line in order. Doku on one side, Semenyo on the other, Haaland up front, Serki, Ford, and whoever he wants to play with, Rodri coming back. They are obviously short in the centre-back area, City, but boy, is he a fun footballer, man. And I think he's only going to get better, you know.
I'm gonna come, and I'm basing it on one full game. Obviously, I watched a bit of Semenyo over the last 12 months, especially over the last 2-3 months when we were linked with him. When I watched him closely today, I prefer him personally on the left-hand side. But even though he scored technically 2 goals today, I think in terms of counter-attacks, transitions, attacking and defensive, because he's a really hard worker, I think he'll do well. And his timing and the amount of tappings that he's got this season, I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's the awareness of when to attack the box. So box presence is good. Attacking and defensive transitions is good. But I think, again, with the City side, who have a lot of the ball, who will face a low block, I might sound a bit controversial. I think he might struggle, you know, especially on the right-hand side. And why I say that is because when I watch him, what I like about Semenyo is when he's direct, he's got momentum and this and that. In settled plays, I don't think he's got a trick or two. I think he's very, very direct, and then against low blocks, he might struggle. And what I most don't like about him is when he plays on the right, guys, he carries the ball with his left foot, even though he is comfortable with on both flanks and he's both footed. But I would prefer, because of his profile traits, of him carrying the ball and creating separation with his left foot. When you come inside, you need to have a curler, a Salah, a Saka, a Yamal. I know I'm going crazy in terms of the players, but even I don't think he's half as good at whacking it into the top bins from that angle. He doesn't have, for me, have a left foot back to post, a Salah type of what we saw last year,
Yeah.
a back post header from Gakpo. I don't think he plays that ball. When he's dangerous, I think he's on his right foot carrying it. But look, those are the little bits I saw today. Some people say, look, no, you're overthinking it. But I do know, Ben, from listening to you and talking to you off camera, that you're also not the biggest Semenyo fan. Is that fair to say?
I think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player. I think what you're talking about there is Liverpool, from what we've had, our wingers they've been nailed down to them positions, haven't they? Salah was never going to go over to the other side. I know Mane made the transition across, but after a while, it's always been set, hasn't it? I know Diaz gave us a helping hand last year playing through the middle at times. He was never the best at it, but he could do a job. Semenyo is a proper fluid winger, isn't he? You know, both-footed. Do you know one thing I was impressed with him tonight, Asim, that I will say? Look, I'm not his biggest fan. It's not that I don't rate him. I just think Liverpool ceiling's got to be higher. I think he's a 7 out of 10 most weeks. We've had 10 out of 10s at times with the Manes and Salahs. Maybe we've been spoiled. We've had 2 unicorns.
Ben Jean gives threes out of 10s on the year. But I get what you're saying, because thing is, they've got Doku. I know we've got Salah, Gene, but Salah's at the end of his career, and they've got a guy who's got that relentless nature of going past your player. And the Doku's got obviously that inside ability as well, with O'Reilly playing on the outside this year as well in natural fluidity. But look, I think I agree with Ben. He would have improved Liverpool, but is from Gakpo to Semenyo, I don't think there's levels. But
I think, look, when I look at Semenyo, Asim, I think his best work is done from the left, although he can do a decent job on the right hand side. His versatility, is underrated, because there's not many players that can play across the front line. Yeah. He can at a very, very good standard. He's got physicality, which is needed in the Premier League. Is proven in the Premier League, and it's at 65 million. It's a good signing for Man City. Make no mistake, that is a good signing. We obviously, look, guys, we have been spoiled when we look at the likes of Diaz, more Mane, Salah. These guys were like world-class elite we turned these guys into elite footballers. And is Semenyo going to be elite? Probably not, but I think he will do I think he's going to do really, really well at Man City, Asim. I genuinely believe this guy will do really, really well at Man City. He's going to help Haaland out a big time. That is one thing. Even today, Asim, there was a few times where Haaland picked up the ball, where in previous years, Haaland's a bit quiet in the inside. Semenyo does give you presence in that forward line.
Definitely gives you presence.
Big lad, isn't he?
He's a big lad.
This is why I think it will help Haaland more. Haaland needed a big lad next to him, because these guys have always had smaller wingers. Ball, or the high ball, the long ball is always going up to Haaland. Now they've got a player. Not just Haaland, they can send it to Semenyo, and we've seen in terms of his dual ability that he's pretty good on his duels when the ball goes along. Yeah. I think he's going to give City a different dimension. Yes, I agree. He's probably not as best in terms of breaking down low blocks, because there was a few times where he didn't look natural when he was coming on inside on that left foot. He didn't look like they'll come inside and bend it. I agree with you in that sense, but still, I think he has maybe one more level, not 2, where that's elite. I think maybe he's got one level where he can improve at Man City.
Do you think this is just a quick one? Do you think this is City realising what Arsenal have realised the last couple of years, going for more of a presence type of forward? Because
100%.
We've talked about the directness. I think he's not a low block breaker down type of player, but he's one that could barge through defences, with the ball, fast pace. And one thing I noticed tonight, they were in like a 4-4-2 at times. Haaland and Semenyo dead together. Doku, as we were talking, weren't we, how tight he is out wide. I think it's going to cause problems for teams. And I think it's potentially Pep Guardiola going, we've been used to the little fellas. The chair, he's about 2 foot nothing. And they've been like that all across his tenure, haven't they? Even back to Barcelona's and what have you. This kid's massive. And I think that's him going, we need to start being a bit of a physical team now. Because let's be honest, not many players are going to push him off the ball.
He's been talking about it, hasn't he, Ben? I think about a week ago, I heard an interview from him that he's talking about the modern winger. he mentioned Lamal and Sane as well, tall physical presence, and especially how the league's gone and all the modern coaches have gone into this increase in man-to-man pressing. When that is the case, if teams are gone towards the man-to-man presses, the need for duelers and marauders and physical traits has increased, even in wingers, fullbacks, defenders, midfielders, fine. But even in midfielders, and maybe that's one of the reasons why we've talked about it at length, when McAllister has trouble, struggled in terms of covering space and winning in duels. But hopefully, in his case, he gets up to the fitness. But I also think when I watch City over the last 3-4 months, I think there's an influence of Pep Linders there, where he has taken his Kloppism into a Guardiola side. And when I do watch City, the distances are not as the same, where there's a lot more bigger distances. It has made them look a bit more open in against counterattacks. But the benefit of a Kloppism into a Guardiolism is you still get that interchanging of positions, but you're getting a lot of chance creation. And obviously with Ryan Cherki, yeah, he's an unbelievable chance creator, but I think it's down to the influence of Linders as well, where he's taken a bit of directness into the Manchester City side. Like, look, obviously players like Rodri coming in, it'll help him control the game better with the ball, but in terms of their structure, it's not a coincidence why they're creating a lot more chances. I watched the second half of that Brighton game, and Manchester City weren't great. Brighton, if they won that game, City couldn't have argued. But at the end of the game, when Cherki came on, yes, he's a chance creator, but the way they play, they're really, really direct. So, and if you're going to go and transition into that, then like you say, you need big physical profiles just to make sure you cater for that. But we're talking about Manchester City signings. We talked about Cherki, we talked about Semenyo. It looks like, Ben, according to David Ornstein, the very, very reliable, for me, the best out there in terms of journalism. The Bomba that we didn't expect, weren't wanting to hear. And he's saying, although Liverpool's injuries are tallying up, it looks like Liverpool are very unlikely to strengthen in January. When you read that today, Ben, what was your initial reaction?
There was no surprise to me that we'd see something like that come out. Not just about how he went about it, but it tends to come out after a home game, doesn't it? All the journalists at Anfield and what have you, rubbing shoulders, a few conversations, get mentioned, don't they? As we know. And it always comes out, tends to be the day or so later after the home game. So if people don't really notice that, maybe keep an eye out for it for the future. Because you may see more come out after Burnley, you know what I mean? In particular, it was a bit of everything, wasn't it? Konate in there, Salah. It wasn't a great tweet for a Liverpool fan, and I can understand people getting a bit pissed off. Look, with regards to Mark Gay, we were speaking off here, they're infatuated to get a freebie over the line, aren't they? They've lost Trent. I know they got 10 million, but I mean, what would you say Trent is? In the modern days, a £100 million player, isn't he? Going off what, players go for these days. And Konate, for instance, it looks like he's going as well. What would you say, 50, 60 million on his day when he's really on form? Because let's be honest, he's been good for Liverpool, hasn't he? I think he's been shit this year, but we're taking more out on him because he's not signing the deal, and we feel like another one that's taking the piss out of Liverpool. So in the grand scheme of things, they've had 10 million basically just off them two players if Konate goes. And I think they're caught in this position now where they're like, we've got to make sure we get something in our favour across the line for free. And they must have, I'll be honest, there's no way that he chooses Man City over Liverpool. There's not a chance. But I think the best thing that could possibly happen is they do make a move for him. Because Liverpool have to make a move. Because I'm not being funny, boys, but no, if Liverpool don't, then I'm all for people going after Hughes and Edwards. You know what I mean? This club can't keep writing seasons off, and we've done it with Klopp, so it won't be a surprise if they do it again. Maybe this year was one of them. Look, we don't know how we'll get on. We've won the title. Let's be honest, we hit the jackpot last year, winning the league. No one expected it from the beginning. We made loads of changes, but the problem that when you really look at it, we haven't fucking really strengthened. We've just replaced players. The squad no bigger. Maybe some certain players are better than others, of course, but we're no bigger as a squad. And let's be honest, last year, we all went loads of the games. We were fucking lucky with injuries last year, and this year it's gone the total opposite way. And I'm one of them. It fucking pains me to watch Liverpool stand still. Let's be honest, they're not doing much in the league, and fucking there's 2 comps left. So Liverpool better be in fucking conversation for both of them, because if they're not, and we just get top 4, that's a disgrace from the club. That they've got to do more. Do you know if they go and make a signing in January, and we don't do well in the cups, for instance, and we don't do well in the top 4, at least we can go. Be easier to go. We tried.
We had
Don't
a
have
go.
fucking going. Why the fuck have you not brought anyone in?
But the problem now, Gene, is they've also haven't really maneuvered this squad good enough, because at the end of the day, he doesn't trust players in Chiesa and Endo, but they're taking up non-homegrown players slots.
Just a waste.
So Liverpool can't even if they, for them to bring a non-homegrown player, Gene, they have to do something. And that's why it made sense to go pay a premium on Gahey. At least you don't have to chuck someone out. Semenyo was homegrown as well. It made sense. It ticked a lot of boxes. We've just talked about the ceiling and what he could reach. And maybe we have a few reservations there, but he ticked a few boxes just in the short term that we didn't have to do, play 5D chess with it. But the problem now, Gene, is even if they wanted to do something, one, who is there to go after Semenyo that's realistically possible to bring in a backhauler? Are we really going to spend 80, 90 million pounds in January? Look, we all want them to do it. But what Ben was talking about is like, for me, the way the Liverpool's run, and especially when these guys have been in charge, is top 4 for them is a massive success. Yeah, we won the league and we all celebrated it. And let's be honest, they weren't expecting Slot to win the league, but he won the league for them. And maybe that's bought him and everyone else a bit more time. But for them, Gene, top 4, and they're fine.
Asim, honestly, I find it's a fucking disgrace. Liverpool just accepting a top 4, not signing anybody, especially with the issues that we've got. Look, everybody knows I am not Arne Slot's biggest fan, but I want to be honest. If that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna back the manager if he hasn't been given the fucking tools. Hughes and Edwards, you've backed your manager. He's struggling as it is. The players are struggling. The manager is struggling right now, yeah? In terms of numbers, he hasn't got the numbers. Results are coming here and there. We're getting a win here and there. We're not lost a game, but when we're playing shite football, we need help. He needs help. He needs backing. And I find it fucking scandalous that he's not being backed. If you're backing this manager, then backing this manager to stay and carry on, then at least back him in January. We're going for the flipping.
Is it his fault as well, though? If we all knew last season he doesn't trust Endo.
Okay, yeah.
We all knew last season he doesn't trust Chiesa. So there's 2 spots. If you didn't trust him, you should have. Look, we don't know the internal talks, but I have to judge a manager what he says in the press conferences and after the games. And for me, there was a manager. If anything, he gave Endo more and more praise because he was coming out with the 5-10 minute cameos, and he said, "Look, for me, he's a great professional, and every time I put him on, he closes the game." And it became a bit of a thing, did it? Amongst the fan base.
I'll make it easier for you. These 2 players you mentioned, Endo and Chiesa. Endo doesn't want to leave. He wasn't honest. Slot didn't buy him. Yeah. Endo doesn't want to leave. He's come out and said, "I'm happy to play a big part of football. I don't want to leave." He said that in the summer. He's not leaving.
But don't pick him in the squad then.
Chiesa is not even a signing. He didn't want him from the first. He didn't want him. So with these 2 players, I've actually got a bit of support for Arne Slot here because he didn't want these players. These 2 players, he never wanted Chiesa. The board gave him it because it was an opportunistic signing for 12 million. It hasn't worked out, and now he can't get rid of him, right? Because we've got no fucking forwards.
Yeah, but in the summer he should have made that decision.
Asim, in the summer, we couldn't go sell him and bring in another forward. It wasn't going to spend 500 million. That's on the board, isn't it? The board have to make that decision, not him.
Yeah, but if you want to win the league, you buy a lot more clout, don't you, as a manager? You've just won the league.
I get that, Asim. No, I agree with what you're saying, but I refuse to pin this on him. this Chiesa and Endo business.
I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm not saying it's all his fault.
I believe on these two, most of it is not his fault.
Okay.
Most of it. But what I will say is, look, we know deep down he's a yes man, right? Okay, I can accept that. But one thing that he had to do is go to the board in January and say, listen, I'm fucking struggling here. You can see I'm struggling. I need backup. He needs to be a bit more vocal and say, look, I'm ready to go. I've got myself in a top 4 sort of position where we're still in the Champions League. We can make a go of it. We're gonna have to go and sign 2 or 3 centre backs in the summer anyway. There's no escaping that. So at least back me now. Give me one. If we bought one signing, we know Diaz came, the difference it made. Kvaratskhelia with one signing went to PSG, the difference it makes. One signing can make a big difference in terms of lifting the whole mood of this football club. And we've been in the shitter over the last 3 or 4 months. Yeah, the fans have been arguing. All of this has been going on with the Salah and this and that. This would have been, if we bought one here, it'll unite everyone together. Okay, shit season, forget it. Let's go for it. Champions League, let's have a go of it. Let's see what we can do. But this is bollocks what they're doing. Honestly, Ben, not fucking signing somebody by January end is fucking gross misconduct. They fucking need to go, man. And imagine, just because of 35, 40 million, something happens, we get another injury, we miss out on top 4. Then what?
Mate, this shouldn't even be a conversation. It should be fucking, the money's there. We were going to spend it. Go and just, the cost cutting. That's what they're doing. The fucking cost cutting. They're hoping that they can get, like I've just said with you boys there, they're hoping they can get to the end of the year and celebrate a victory lap by fucking getting a freebie, offering them probably 5 million sign on with 200 grand a week. They're saving money in that aspect as opposed to paying a big fee. But the problem is you're going to have to fucking cost cut even more if you don't get top 4, boys, because fuck me, there'll be loads of players that will be thinking, what's going on here? Plus the sponsorship. Like we said on the last show, how would you sign up 10-year billion-pound deals and then fucking go out the top 4 the next year? That's not acceptable. Just, you know what? Do you know where you just mentioned there on the Endos and Chiesas, etc.? Where did I have a bit more sympathy for Slots is if he used them a bit more and say they're fucking shite, but he's not using them at all. So people are like, well, are they as bad as you don't trust them? I know they're not the greatest of players, but he's not even using the squad. But where the fucking I'm looking at the FSG, I would say the FSG side with the Hughes and Edwards, they're on the spend side. But the fact is, now you're playing a dangerous game with that midfield. That midfield is on the verge of collapsing now because some of them are going to start having to fill in at the back. We're in the fucking same situation as when we won the title last time. We're going to have midfielders fucking playing at the back. We are one more injury away from Gravenberch playing fucking centre-back. And I'm sorry, but if we're going to be honest about it, Liverpool will stand no chance winning a cup this year if they're going to start doing all that shit. And then we'll look back and go, well, we knew what was going to happen. It's weird how the fans see these things and sometimes the club just like, nah, we'll go with it. It shouldn't even be a question. I know people will say they've spent loads of money in the summer, and they have. But let's double up on our fucking spend and our investments and give ourselves a good go this year. There's things to play for. Nothing's wrote off yet. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Obviously, but you can't be writing seasons off as Liverpool. You know what I mean?
And then we've shown on the big day, especially in the cup competitions, when you're going to face the best sides in Europe, Villa, Real Madrid, Arsenal away, Arsenal at home, we can compete. We can still compete. We've got a lot of deficiencies all over. We're papering a lot over the cracks, whether it's Szoboszlai right back or Jones at left back to allow Kirkes further up the field and then Wirtz out left and Sobo back in the 10. We're papering a lot of cracks, but we're still competing on the big day. And especially with the Anfield factor, yeah, you're right. It's flat, but hopefully they'll get up for it and the team will give them a bit of football to get behind. And doesn't matter, despite our problems this season, there's the biggest sides in Europe will shit their bricks when they get drawn against Liverpool, regardless of how bad we are. It's because of our love affair with the Champions League. Let's make no mistake about that. But, okay, look, we know what the problems are. How do we do it then? Tell me.
Get the fucking wallet out.
Is it just as easy as that, Ben?
Well, I'd like to think these fellas in a job that probably pay them a couple of million a year aren't just sat around when the season's on not making any calls and building player profiles, they have target lists and shit like that. Let's be honest, boys, we can name a few players and we're not working for the club. Do you know what I mean?
But who if you need to bring a non-homegrown player, who would you take out?
I'd just cut our losses and get rid of Endo now. Do you know what I mean? He's not playing. Get rid of him. You know what I mean? Asim, there's ways to go about it. Liverpool, they've got some of the most intelligent football people at the club. They make the decisions. We can't just sit still because we think, oh, we can't do that. Get off your asses. This shouldn't be even discussed now. It should have been fucking discussed about 3 months ago, planning for January. Liverpool could have used this and fucking propelled themselves for the second half of the season. Because I personally believe, pardon me, I still think there can be an exciting second part. But one thing's for sure is the fans definitely need a lift. And I think them players do. Virgil van Dijk, mate, he's looking older every game because he can't fucking catch a break. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think that's fair for Virgil. So for me, it is as simple as that. Ask him, get the wallet out. They were all right bouncing around, fucking saying 125 million for Isak in the summer. Well, get off your asses and rescue our season because we pay a load of money. I pay a lot of money travelling to the games all the time. I fucking want to see Liverpool competing. And do you know what? Teams will be scared of us. But as I say, let's make it a bit easier for ourselves, mate, because we're going to start fucking shoehorning players everywhere. And that's not the way to go about it.
We've already started, shoehorning.
You will go 9 games in January. Huh? 9 games in January.
Okay. There you go, mate.
Big games.
You're telling me Szoboszlai is not going to be playing at right back. Of course he's going to be playing at right back, Szoboszlai, in the next couple of games. You're going to see him at right back. Even a couple of games ago, he finished the game at right back. You're going to be seeing him at right back. All sorts is going to happen. I'm telling you now, we're one injury away from a fucking catastrophe, mate. That's literally what it is. One injury. Ekitike got slightly injured. The couple of games he didn't play, we should have won them games against lowly opposition. We fucking drew him. Yeah, an injury to him or an injury to a centre back, and then you watch how bad it gets then. And then
people bring Simicast back, and I'm like, the standards of our fucking club is on the floor, boys. Do you know what I mean? Simicast back, like fuck me. I was like that reading it. Do you know what I mean? Like one. Let's cut the bullshit now. Mark Gay is there to be got if they get off their asses and fucking put the money on the table. Do you know if City get in, then people are going to cause fucking carnage at this football club. And again, it'll get worse for Slot, as in like the performances, because the crowd will be a bit more fucking snappy, and people they'll lose patience because of the two fucking clowns above them.
But one thing, Asim, coming to you, if Mark Gay goes to Man City in January somehow, if that happens, like Ben says, it's going to be fucking toxic, mate. Where the fans are going to be going crazy. We can't blame Slot. The fucking hierarchy are going to have to get it from thinking, you've literally taken the piss out of us. That's what they've done. If they don't bring in, if Mark Gay goes in January, they've literally taken the piss out of us. And I simply do not buy anybody that says they don't rate him that highly. You fucking wanted him for 35 million 4 months ago.
Sat in your fucking offices. You rate him fucking high. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, mate. You fucking rate him. And if you don't rate him for number one centre back, you need at least 2 or 3 in the summer. Right? I'm sure he's fucking good enough to be in at least 2. He's a 65, 70 million pound player. Palace rejected 65 million from Newcastle only about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So
why they still then?
Because they're fucking Ben's right. Because they're gonna get stung with another free transfer. They want to say we got one over them. They want to say, we got a freebie for fucking free.
They could be looking at the business side of it and going, if Konate goes, we're down about 140 million as a business. So if they can get a fucking transfer, I know he's 35 million, which we locked in. But they know he's worth more than that. And they're like, fucking get in. We'll have a little victory. The problem is, when you've got City on the phone now, that's a problem because they'll just say to them, all right, we'll give you 40 and we'll give him 250 a week. They've given Semenyo 200 odd grand a week. Wow. And, as much as we've just spoke of Semenyo, when I see them there today and the City players look a bit more energetic, I'm thinking, maybe it is a bit of a miss for Liverpool. Maybe we should have just gone and got him because at least attempt to look like you want to go and have a successful season. We're watching players go down every game. Fucking Rio went down.
This is the thing,
And
isn't it, Ben?
we're giving our look. Rio's a 17-year-old kid, but we were told like we're not buying a replacement for Luis Diaz, and we talked about in length how much we miss
That's what
him
it's
as a
come
player.
to now. The kids are going down who are supposed to be stepping in, and now there's fucking no one to step in.
We have to give we have to give Rio 2 days off every week. One day, to go for shopping, and the other day to go watch a movie at the cinema. But it just
with his feet up.
But look, I'm not blaming the kid. I blame the guys who thought that this guy can cut it out in the league in terms of physical league. But this is an overarching problem where the manager and the hierarchy need to take a big responsibility and a lot of burden of collectively all the responsibility, because in terms of on the pitch, I think Arne Slot's underestimated the league, where he thinks he can just play on the halfway line and just every single thing that we be faced with is a low block. He bought the likes of Wirtz and played a million and took out loads of intensity out of his game. And the outside, the hierarchy thought that, he's a manager. Yes, he liked and personally liked a small squad at Feyenoord. But if you think you won the league and you got away with it, just like you guys said, we got lucky. And then we're told that he still is managing players and the intensity in training is not great, just to make sure we don't get injuries. But it just turned and flipped completely the other way, where our players, forget the newcomers in Wirtz and Ekatike adapting to the physicality of the league. A lot of the players don't look fit this year. A lot of the players. So, it's had the opposite effect, where we're trying to reserve the energy just for the business end of the season. But because we've been playing shy all season, confidence is shot, and then fitness levels are not good enough. So even if we want the intensity, we don't have the intensity. And bar the second half in the last 2 months against Arsenal, the intensity, we've been like clinging on. Whether it's through the opposition coming at us or it's an individual mistake, one thing's for sure, and there's a common denominator for the last month or month and a half since we changed this formation. We're clinging on in games, and it's a fitness issue, it's a confidence issue, and it's a mental issue. And you put all those three things together, then it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
I'm just like, I just honestly, I just can't believe we're not going to sign anybody. I genuinely, I cannot believe that we're not going to sign anybody. But I thought, you know what? I knew we're not going to sign anybody a month ago before the Isak injury. I was like, okay, they're probably not. Isak got injured. Okay, you know what? I thought maybe, one. We need some help. Bradley's out for the season as well now. It is just beyond a joke that we don't sign anybody. Honestly, it's crazy. And I'm just hoping and praying we get top 4. This is the crazy thing. We're sat here thinking, you know what? Let's hope and pray, Dwakaro, that we get top 4. Because, that's fucking crazy, man. Honestly, man, it's fucking mental thinking that, you know what, we're sat here hoping and praying that we get top 4. We're praying that we don't get an injury. In one more injury, I'm telling you now, we're getting it. One more injury, mate, we're fucked. And then if it goes tits up, then
this is why I want to see City make that move, to see if we've got the fucking bollocks to go and make that move. Because I tell you what, if they don't, mate, I think you're in your luck. I really do believe you're in your luck in life. And if Liverpool don't make an attempt for it, you better believe something will backfire on them.
It always does, Ben. Watch. I'm telling you, we don't do any business. Like
the way this season's going.
Yeah.
The way this season's going.
The football is in this league, by the way. They're all fucking horrible. 2 foot on each other all the time. Look, we've got difficult games coming up. If we made that Mark Gay signing, you better believe Liverpool will feel fucking on top of the world. But more importantly, them players. Because I've seen them players walking out on that pitch at times with their heads down, and I'm thought, fuck me, we're not going to win today. Wouldn't you? You can tell how a Liverpool performance is going to go. You're going to know if they're going to be on it or if they're going to have a tough game. When I seen them yesterday fucking hit the post in about 25 seconds, I thought, we're going to have one of them days today.
Yeah, and even when we're looking good, we start back killing it from 3 yards.
It's a fucking circus, lad.
like we haven't suffered enough.
Fucking top corners and pissing about in the on our goal line.
Top corners and back heels. That's all we'll do in the next month or so. The super chat from Murad _11 LFC. He says 675 people in here. Like and subscribe. Big up, Gene, Asim, and welcome back, Ben. Don't forget to go over to Red or Alive and like and subscribe to their channel as well. My hope, and maybe I'm ever the optimist, is even like someone like David Ornstein has come. I just hope and pray that Liverpool have put this out so they can work something behind the scenes. There's not a lot of pressure. If there's a January pot somewhere and it's not full, Gene's obviously ruling it out already. Maybe Liverpool do like a Fabinho type of signing where we just look at our phones and Liverpool and sign someone. Is there any hope of that, Ben? You can never say never. But I know what the direction of travel is, but we have done things like this before where we put something out, a narrative out, and boom, we've signed someone.
They're never going to come out there and tell everyone that we're signing him. You know what I mean? So maybe they've just got that out there to calm people's frustrations a bit. I know it's pissed everyone off, but maybe a sign of, look, we're trying. We can't guarantee it. You know, as I say, Palace, for instance, they're a difficult club, aren't they? They always have been. Apparently, Arsenal have still had loads of issues with them, even after when they signed fucking Eze. But one thing's for sure is they shouldn't be looking at anybody else apart from him. How do we get him at Liverpool this year? This January. I'm still clinging on to it, but I think it may be similar to the Diaz one. We need a Tottenham to pipe up like they did at the time with Diaz. Liverpool then went and jumped on it.
Ben, would you start Gay? Would you start Gay if we sign him just January? Would you start him?
Yeah, I would.
Ahead of Canate.
Yeah, because I think the leadership of him will help us go a lot further. I think, and I also think he needs a kick up the fucking ass and to realise that he plays for one of the biggest clubs in the world and we're not some fucking idiot stepping stone as well. Because I think he's took it for granted. And let's be honest, when he's got Joe Gomez supposedly his backup, he may as well put his fucking shoes on the opposite feet because fucking hell, that's what it'll take to get Joe to knock him up. Did you see his first 5 minutes, lads? I could have fucking played better than him.
I know he was shouting the first 5 minutes.
God. But yeah, I would start him. I think he's a quality player. I really do. And I know some people, I see the Mukaji, if I'm getting your name wrong, I fucking apologize. My eyes are shit, sorry. But look, hey, with the height, I'd just done a show before, and one of our lads, Greg, he's spot on. He said, go and watch the game against us at Selhurst Park. He fucking won every header. So we can't fail this. If we fuck this up, then it's not a good look. It's not a good look for Liverpool, mate. Let's be honest. If we mess it up,
it's not a good look.
Guys, do you still believe deep down? Look, do you think one will happen before January, or are you just clinging on to hope now?
I am clinging on to hope. Okay. I am clinging to hope, but I think because what puts me off is we're signing about 10 million youngsters that I've never heard of. And I still never heard of them, even though I've read their name and still
Moneyball.
And people are sending me comps on Instagram about the young centre backs that we're signing. Yeah, they look young potential, but look, I want to win now. I want to win now.
We've got fucking youth that don't even get a game now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm with these guys. I don't believe we're gonna get anybody. I go, Edwards does this, Gene. We are getting nobody.
You better prepare that we're not. It's better to prepare thinking we're not going to get anyone, so you don't sit up all fucking night on deadline day thinking someone's going to.
No. Don't give up, Ben. We need people to tune in tomorrow as well.
Fucking Bomba.
95.
We can close the laptop. Look, you've got to have hope. Look, I'd love to have a conversation with them. and just say to him, explain to me why you believe we should go as we are, because I'm not being funny. My argument against it, I'd have far more fucking things to say. Because I always believe in every window, Liverpool should look to improve. It doesn't matter about injuries, regardless. And all this shit about a small squad. Well, I'm sorry, Arnie Slot. You're in the worst league for a small squad, my friend.
Yeah.
Bomba, not Bomba.
Well, Ben, with that, even Guardiola, the pioneer of proper football, tiki-taka, has realized where the league is going. Arteta realized where the league is going. To be fair to him, you might have a difference of opinion on Arteta, the man and the manager, and the antics on the touchline, but you have to give him it that he saw where the league is going. Yeah, they're boring, but they can play any game. They can play any game and they don't concede, whether it's in the air and they're very, very compact. But Liverpool, I felt like, just didn't read where the game. Look, they've just hired our throwing coach this week as well. So it'll be Gabriel and someone else on the throw-ins now. But that's another thing that was good about Semenyo. He can take long throws. But it's the indictment of Liverpool's transfer policy of the last 5 to 6 years. With all due respect, if we're still talking about Joe Gomez, the cover, Joe Gomez, the player. He's a lovely lad, down to earth, and we all want him to score a goal before he leaves. And he probably will leave, in my opinion, at the end of the summer. But it just shows you it's 2026, Ben. And we're not just talking about Joe Gomez providing cover at centre-back. Now with Bradley out for the season, we're expecting him to cover at right-back. So he can't stay fit, but all of a sudden he has to cover 2 positions, not 1. It's mad.
We're playing with 5. We still got fucking Reece Williams knocking about somewhere, haven't we?
probably still got Nat Phillips doing Cruyff turns in it.
Fucking bandage, John. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Fucking hell. If everything's just gone wrong this year, and it's just fucked.
You know what? But if we don't sign anyone by the end of the end of January, fuck me, end of the summer, bloody hell, we'll bring Liverpool down, we'll bring Anfield down. But I think the narrative, in a similar fashion, how Ria's narrative played out in the summer, and how we were protecting his pathway to success. I think the narrative will start blaming it on the likes of Klopp. I can guarantee you that the narrative will be that the squad progression in terms of planning and succession planning, there was uncertainty in the hierarchy. We were put in a position last summer with the contracts of Van Dijk, Salah, and Trent. Now we've lost Trent on a free. We've lost Kanate on a free. I guarantee you that will be the narrative. I guarantee you.
Look, do you know what? If we're going to be honest about it, like the ending of Klopp's tenure at Liverpool wasn't great for the club because them lads were never going to sign the deals with him going where they were going to fucking delay it. And I get it. You ask him in any job, you want to know what's going on with the boys at the top and, who's coming in, etc. The lads who've come in have had a tough job. Let's be honest about it. The contract situation. We've had a fucking tragedy in the summer, mate. And, we're cursed. It's like we're cursed as a club. The things that go on at Liverpool is just fucking crazy. But one thing's for sure is, mate, I'm not one of them that you should ever write seasons off at Liverpool. And, I just want to see the manager use his squad a bit better. We can say certain players are shit or not, but Asim, we've got to give Van Dijk and that a bit of a rest, mate. That's my worry, mate. How the fuck? How old is he? 34, 35? He's not really missed a game again.
No.
No, I don't know, mate. I'm hoping that the club is not as stupid as they were last year. And just touching up on the succession planning, I was calling for it when, look, they obviously tried for Zubimendi with Chiesa, didn't he? And right now, that would have probably been a great fit, an extra player in the midfield. He's a great little player. I know he wasn't good in the game for Arsenal the other day against us, but I was crying out for a younger forward to come in. He would have had his bedding in period last year, Asim. Now, he'd be starting type of thing. But they haven't done that. And I'm looking at the club and I'm thinking, surely you aren't that stupid enough to think that we're going to have a mad, crazy summer again. We're going to be in this fucking rat race just fucking chasing our tail, mate. And it's a dangerous game because these teams, mate, we've seen it. Arsenal caught up to Liverpool out of nowhere, like the click of a finger. What the to happen by not fucking strengthening in certain windows, and I can't stand that.
I tweeted today as well. Don't know if you lads saw it. Is like the reality of the situation. Yes, there's a bit of context to it in regards, especially to the right wing, but because all the left back, because I believe the likes of Salah and Robertson will leave in the summer. But the reality of the situation, if that is the case, is Liverpool will need a left back, a right back, 2 centre backs, a left winger, a right winger, and that's about 6
Why
of
the
them.
fuck are we standing still? We should be bringing in at least 2 now.
This is my issue.
just
Are you going to
replace
go
them
and
again.
do another 6 and say them 6 need a fucking year's bedding in period, or them 6 are going to need a year to fucking bed in? Let's write off another motherfucker season. Sorry for my
Chasing our
language.
tail.
Sorry,
You
man.
know what?
That's what's going to
It is
happen,
fucking
man.
weird.
I'm telling you, boys, man. Sorry, I lost it a little.
This is why City, right? We're being honest about it. If Guardiola goes into next year, that's where he's probably looking at it going, that's when we do go and win the title. Because he's had the January of last season, he brought fucking loads of players in, didn't he? Like, he brought in the likes of that Nico Gonzalez, etc. This year they've done it. They brought a few in, and now they've gone Semenyo. So next year, that team should be fucking flying. We are going to have this fucking topsy-turvy thing again. Luckily enough, our players that we signed in the summer now look like they've settled, and they're settled well. They're starting to perform really well most games. The club can't be stupid enough to think another fucking 6 or 7 come in and we're going to go and start competing on all fronts. Crazy. Too much on our plates and shit will start falling off the sides.
That's what's going to happen. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to go and bring in 5 or 6 and it's going to be the same narrative. Oh, we're not there yet. We're building. It's a fucking, it's a rebuild. We're going through the rebuild. 2 years of rebuild. Next year is our year. We're going to be back to the fucking 90s again. Next year is our year.
Always next summer. Next summer.
Year.
Keep smashing that like button, people. Nearly 700 of you here on a Tuesday night, and it's 11 o'clock. We're not going to go for much longer because it's probably about 6 a.m. in Dubai right now. Rashid with a super chat. If you want to feel free if you want to jump in at any time with these supers, boys. He says, what if the owners don't trust Slot with any more money? Banter is fine. Big up Banter, always supporting the channel. He says, Gahey on free makes sense, especially if they have an intent to buy another in summer. Allocate most of that summer Gahey expenditure to signing a fee and elsewhere if they prefer to consolidate in Jan. So be it. SJ always supporting. Big up. LFC working BTS. What does that mean? Behind the scenes, maybe? For SJ has become an ITK. The in-house ITK. I forgot he was in last night as well.
How many ITKs have we got in this fucking chat, man, and on this channel, bro? They're all fucking ITKs.
The biggest is not here today. He's working on it.
The day as well, man.
The comments in the chat, right? There's a fucking good comment, and I think it's is it Josh Media TV? He's just put it. Remember, we got the World Cup as well. So where the fuck did he think they're getting all these players in?
There you go.
Yeah, that'll be another narrative in the summer that agents are busy. The agents are busy.
Chiesa, you've got an extension.
I think we're on here. City, big up. Thanks for sending this through. Hierarchy will still leave us short in the summer. 100%. We've just talked about we need another 7-8 signings. I'm not expecting 7-8 because the thing is, I believe we probably get 4 or 5. That's if we get a decent amount of money for Salah. At least we got 250 million worth of what do you call it, sales in. When I look at that around the squad now, there's not a lot of sellable assets, boys.
Do you know what's one thing that's pissed me off? Is that, do you know when we brought Diaz in? He was the Mane replacement, but we give ourselves 6 months with him.
Yeah.
Why aren't we fucking signing someone now up front that is helping Salah? Do you know what I mean? Letting him have a break, coming back in, and also the bedding in period. We just look like a team that's just going to go and fucking drop them all in at once and expect them. Do you know, like the manager this year, the one thing, I have me questions of the manager, of course I do. And
We're coming to that.
But I mean, he had to start them all straight away. And some Klopp would have went, there's fucking no chance I'm starting them all straight away. But they had no choice because they would have the players that they'd replaced would have fucking started, wouldn't he? Pretty much. Diaz, fucking one of the forwards. You know, Trent would have started. So they've all been dropped in at the deep end, and it's definitely not worked for Liverpool this year.
Ben, there was a year, I mean, obviously last summer when we were static, we didn't sign anybody. That's the difference. In this league, you cannot be static. You have to move. Arteta came second last year. What did he do? 300 plus million. Because that's what he knew. This is what it's going to take for me to go and win a title. They had a bigger net spend than us. That just tells you something. They want to go and win it. They want to try and go and win everything. The year before that, we were static. We didn't sign anybody. It will always catch up. You can't be static in this league. Man City, they had 4 bad months. Like Ben mentioned, they've threw 130 million in January, threw another 200 million in what do we call it, in the summer. January's come again, they're throwing another 100 million, because this is what you have to do to be elite level year upon year. This is what you have to do. That's just the way it is, because you have to keep refreshing, you have to keep strengthening, you have to keep selling. Like Asim mentioned, there has to be sellable assets as well, which you just got to keep churning it out. That's just the way it works now. There are going to be players that are going to be go, but they're going to have to go and buy new players as well at the same time and keep it going.
And some of your new signings don't always work. Arsenal are probably looking at it within the next year or so going, if that big fridge freezer up front doesn't start hitting the back of the net, we're going to have to get rid of him. We fucking drag it out for about 3 years. Do you know what I mean? So, look, you can't stand still. Let's be honest now. Do you know, since we won the league with Klopp the first time round, right? We stood still for a couple of years. Arsenal fucking caught up. We allowed them bypass because they've been the ones who've been chasing City in the last couple of years. I know we won the title last year. And as I say, Gakpo's probably one that's going to consider going, because I think he knows he's not fucking appreciated at Liverpool.
Yeah, I can accept that.
If
he goes, we need 2 more wingers.
I think Gakpo's one that could probably look to make a move. Fucking don't forget, Bayern Munich were testing the water for him as well.
Plays better with one boot on as well.
Who's that?
Plays better with one boot on.
Fucking soggy sock.
Maybe that's increases that little run. That was funny, man. I agree with you. But look, we have got him on a contract. But the thing is, if Gakpo goes, Ben, then we need 2 signings on that left-hand side.
No, but you're on about 2 signings. Rio Ingamo is that we're not gonna stunt his growth into the first team.
Oh yeah. He'll be spending the season this summer in the gym. Then we'll be told that he's built 2.5 kgs as well.
And then we fucked him off.
We fucked him off. Let's keep it moving with the supers. El Lad, is this a sign that Slot will be gone? It's an interesting point. Josh Media, we'll come to the Slot and the Alonso talk just before we wrap up. Big up Josh. He says, remember World Cup in there summer too makes it harder. Ruben LFC, big up. He says, good to see you guys. Slot post-match presser said that the 28th of... Yeah, let's go there and talk about this, and we'll go on to this Alonso chat as well. But just to finish off the super chat, he says that 28 of his last 30 pre-match meetings, he would have thrown it into the bin with no plan B. Shocking. It's created a bit of a discussion online. What did you make of it? Did you catch it, boys?
I didn't.
Yeah, I heard. I listened to Asim, but you know...
Just for the benefit of you, before you go, Gene, just benefit of Ben is he was asked about the low block of Barnsley, and he goes, "Look, I'm not accusing them of why they played. They normally play with the back 4, but they today with the back 5." He goes, "If I was in his position, the Barnsley's manager position, I would play it as well." But
100%.
Yeah, 100%. But he made this comment just to finish off. He goes, "Look, how teams are changing and what I expect them to, the plan that for what I expect." Is completely different, and my pre-match meetings in the last 28 to 30 times I would throw in the bin, because the moment the match starts they do something completely different. And so he's taken a bit of a stick saying, like, what do you expect? You're the champions, you're Liverpool, you've just bought you spent 450 million pounds. What do you expect? Never mind Barnsley, even like last season Leverkusen, he had that big lad playing on the left wing, I forgot his name now. Boniface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Boniface, and he was playing on the left wing rather down in the middle, and things like that. He's to his credit, in the last season he adapted, he made subtle tweaks. But that feature of Arne Slot last season, where those tweaks, whether it's a 45 or 60 or last cameo for Endo, it's not been a feature this season. And like we've been talking about, the acid test is to make those big decisions when the going gets tough. When shit is the fan, have you got the balls to make the big decision? It's easy making it when you're top of the league. But just to go back to this, Ben, I'm with this, that, like, what do you expect? But how? Because he goes, look, I have to tell him what to expect, and then when we start the match, if you're an elite manager of a top club, you have to give your team 2-3 scenarios, guys. They could set up with this. We set up like this. If they set up with the back five, we go like this. Why is it such a shock?
Fucking basic fucking managerial thing that you do, man. You set up differently. You tell the I could with all due respect, I could tell you that this team, there's certain teams are gonna set up like this. They're playing Liverpool at Anfield. They might play 5 at the back with 2 in front. It's normal. You have to have tactical tweaks during games that your team must know what they're gonna do. That I found absolute bonkers from him. That they throw your plan A out the window. Who gives a shit if you throw your plan A out the window? You should have a plan B for the way a team set up. You should have a plan C. Okay, just little tweaks. I'm not saying change the whole fucking structure. Little tweaks. That's standard, basic fucking coaching.
Like he's out of his depth a bit, innit? Like, I'm not being funny, right?
That's crazy, man.
Doesn't take a fucking genius to know. An opposition team knows that. At Anfield, for instance, this Liverpool team's going to come flying up the fucking traps usually. So let's hang in there and not be fucking 3-0 down in the first half. I don't understand how it's some fucking, it baffles him. Like, you can't be that stupid, lad. I think this year he's just lost his way for me. The Liverpool players should be saying to him, we know they're all going to sit in. They have done for fucking eternity. You know what I mean?
And the irony is, Ben, teams have gone from back 4, back 5s, at times back 6 against us, but the principles of pressing high when we've got the ball, our defenders got the ball, or the keeper's got the ball. If we play to the halfway line, they completely drop into a low block, and then they go along and they win with the duels. And that's one of the reasons why we started flooding the midfield with our own midfielders. It's been the same for the last 3-4 months since the back end of the season. Teams, in terms of principles, have been the same week in, week out. The structures might have been tweaked, but this is why I'm a bit really annoyed about it, is because, in terms of the principles, the style of football, the brand of football that teams are coming up against us is the same. So why is that such a surprise? It baffles me. But going over, we're just going to run it for the next, another 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
I need to get away. Ben Alonso. I saw your little tweet, little emoji. I don't miss a thing. But again, it created a bit of a discussion. I read some of the comments on our show last night. People accusing us of a lack of respect towards the current manager. But many people are thinking the other side of the fence, saying he's free. And you don't wait, you act. What do you think?
I think it's put more pressure on the manager. That's what I would say. I think you'd have to talk about it. I get people saying it's a disrespect, but it is what it is. Look, if the club sacked him, then people would be fucking jumping up and down if Alonso was in the job. So what the fuck are they talking about? One thing for sure is it has put pressure on the manager, because now the club have an excuse to sack him if it goes tits up. You know what I mean? Before they didn't. Like the transfer window, we don't really do loans. So as much as we spoke about the interim thing, that was never on the club's top priority list to go and get an interim. They believe in long-term planning. So I just think, mate, look, he's definitely going to be the one that's top the list still, isn't he? If you're on the list of, ever on the list with Hughes and Edwards, you're always going to remain on the list. So it's not going to change. And I think they are, behind the scenes, they'll have been speaking to him for weeks. I bet the
really?
I'd imagine so. Because if he's made, we see snippets. They'll have known for fucking ages what's going on at Real Madrid. You know what I mean? They hear it through fucking player agents and what have you. So they are probably deep down jumping up and down that the top choice is miraculously come available of a, you know, out of the Madrid job, which, let's be honest, terrible job. Them players are fucking idiots, aren't they? The good thing, if Liverpool were to bring Alonso in, there's no jumping ship to Real Madrid, so they'll be made up with that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
There's no fucking about now from Arne Slot. If it doesn't work out in the next couple of weeks, I believe they will sack him. I really do believe that. Because they've got an excuse to now. You haven't done it. Off you go. In he comes. So before, they didn't really have that person, did they? Because you couldn't have just sacked him and then tried to attempt getting Alonso out of the job. Now he's out of the job. So he's probably sat there waiting for the call of, do you want the job? Do you know what I mean?
Alonso, Ben, the thing is, my theory is about Slot. He's their man. I can't see them sacking him because some people are thinking like, we'll make that change regardless in the summer. It doesn't matter what he does this season. Obviously, there's crazy extremes where if we win the Champions League, then look, it doesn't matter who Alonso or Enrique is available. We're not simply sacking him. But I think if he gets Champions League football, I can't see them making the change.
Back him in January then. If you're gonna, that's the argument to them. If he's your man, fucking back him then. If you're not backing him, then you don't believe in him. So I think if they don't back him, I think that speaks volumes. Maybe that is the excuse they're going for. If the results fucking turn, bang, the bullet's pulled, the trigger's pulled. I don't know. Let's see. It's a difficult one, but I don't think he's got his feet fully under the table at the minute, the manager, Arne Slot. Because let's be honest, a lot of I know we're undefeated, as we keep hearing all the time. And I think he's wanted that out there constantly, the manager. I think that's the message to the hierarchy. Don't forget I'm undefeated. And I understand when people are like, get rid of the manager now. But ultimately, the club are never... That will be a disrespect for them when he's undefeated at the minute. They got rid of him right now. It doesn't look good to them. But I do think if a big defeat comes, the crowds are then going to go, just fucking get rid of him and go and get the other fella. I think now they've got that excuse. So it would not shock me if he gets the job.
One thing that I will say is obviously the Anfield crowd right now, they be back on it, even though the football's shit, but we understand. You go and play a shit team and lose at home now. The pressure is huge. It's not. We know every fan, 90% of the fans, Asim, we're always questioning us, saying, "Well, there's nobody to fucking bring in. There's no other manager out there."
It is now.
Now, the board's number one manager's available. Look, I like Alonso, but I wouldn't say he's my fucking top priority. I'll be honest, yeah. But if this manager isn't doing it and Alonso's available, I fucking want him in. So if we lose 1 or 2 games, it can turn very quickly, more so now than it was 5 or 6 weeks ago. Because we all know there's a Liverpool legend who we all rate, generally 90% of the fan base will probably rate high and say, you know what, he's there, we want him, get him in. Another thing what we'll think about is Florian Wirtz. This guy got Florian Wirtz to be the best 10 in the world. And if we're going to play our football through this number 10, that's the best. So he's the man to get the best out of him. Right? He demands respect. He's a legend of the football club, won everything in the game, and he proved it at Leverkusen, although, it didn't work out for him at Real Madrid. But let's see, and I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on him. I think the fans will turn. The minute they lose a shit game at Anfield and we play this boring football, you play the boring football like we have and lose, in the next few games, I think it will turn. I genuinely believe it will turn.
The difficult games are coming. So the eyes are on now, man. The eyes are on the club, aren't they? Let's be honest. Everyone in fucking the world will be looking at Liverpool, going, "Are they going to go for him? Are they going to go for him?" And look, they 100% will have been speaking to people in the background, because you've got to have that contingency plan, haven't you? What happens if, for instance, this scenario happens? They definitely will have been speaking to, because they'd have had to. You can't just fucking accept Liverpool to be Think about it. We've been getting battered by shitheads at Anfield. That it just shouldn't be happening. The fear factor of Anfield's gone. So like Cheens just said, if we have one of them fucking Forest games, you better believe they're going to be fucking calling them in, saying, "What is going on here?" They've got an excuse now, and like you just said, they didn't have one before. So the pressure is on Arnie Slot, regardless if we're undefeated in however many games or not. The football's been shite, and the Anfield faithful want the fucking football to be a lot better. So, for instance, Burnley, we better go and put them to the fucking sword.
You play shit against Burnley, and you know arguments if we don't win. You think automatically the pressure's crazy.
We draw in that fucking game.
Draw that game and watch. It will be crazy pressure with Newcastle.
And I could write the plan, the Burnley's plan for Arnie Slot right now. He won't need to tear that up.
Oh, like, give it
we all know Burnley what Burnley gonna do. Let's be honest. They did it at home. They're most certainly gonna do it at Anfield. So he won't be ripping that into the bin. I can. There's no doubt about that. But just quickly before we go, there's a few supers. There we are. Bante is fine. Luis Diaz was special case. Arsenal had more room to grow in comparison to us, and City naturally they would close the gap. SJ again. I just want to say I like Kirkes. I want to see Lewis Hall play. He's so good and will fit us more as ASA wrong. Newcastle Kalari ki sumar bai kita. Kalari ki sumar bai kita. There's a bit of Punjabi in there as well. But I think he's telling us he likes Kirkes, but Lewis Hall is a good player. Lewis Hall is a proper technician. He's got a bit of everything, I think. He's a tremendous footballer. Every time I've seen him in games coming up against Salah, I've always been impressed with him. Lad says also Slot has a year left. He leaves come the summer. Josh Media, Barnsley game to Anfield with confidence. Our team was strong. Quickly before we go on, Ben, do you want to say something?
Just a question to you, Asim, because I know you've been asking us the questions. I've got one for you. So I'm just looking on Twitter there, and I think Indy Kaler always puts a few things out. And I probably think he's probably the right with this one. Eddie Howe must be under pressure. You better believe Newcastle will be into Alonso. So does that pressure Liverpool into making decisions? Because if we lose Alonso, they're back to square one again, aren't they?
Fucking hell, losing Gay, losing Alonso, losing Semenyo. Anyone else? We've lost Arbeloa as well because we need a right back. We need Alonso, we need Arbeloa as well.
Okay, now.
I tell you what, we don't. If look, every team that's got a manager that needs a manager right now will go for Alonso. Let's face it. That's just the way it is. And
Newcastle would be the type of team that would look at him and go, "We'll build around him."
And you know what? I think Alonso would go to Newcastle.
Do you think so?
Yes, 100%. I think Alonso, Newcastle is a club that will give you time, that will give him money. The fans will get behind him. I think he's one of them that will go for him. If they lose, but I tell you,
I'm telling you, you could never rule it out.
It's actually,
no.
How's got them playing in terms of the league now? They're actually on their way up, you know. They're actually playing. They're getting there closer to the top 4 or 5 position now.
Yeah. Okay. I think we had a Fergie time super chat as well for Banter. He says Alonso positional football can be boring too. Slot can go, but I don't want Alonso. De Zerbi is the one. I'm convinced. Yeah. Look, Alonso, he gets accused of that there is a bit of tiki-taka there, positional play, all about zones and progress the ball centrally. So I saw it when he brought his Leverkusen team and we picked him apart. There was some, he's adaptable. He is adaptable, but I think the thing about Alonso is he will adapt to Liverpool's ethos as a club and what the emotion of the fans as well. So, and that's a very good trait. You sometimes go to different clubs, different working environments. It doesn't matter what football it is. The manager needs to adapt. The manager to the players as well. And that's how you bring the best out of players. And like I said last night, I'm not judging Alonso as a coach on the project of Real Madrid because it's nothing but a project. It's everything but a project. One last one. No signings announced after Xabi leaves Real. Okay, people, we shall leave it there. There's still over 629 of you in here. Normally, you're getting used to us doing shows around about 1 hour 50, 1 hour 40, but you still got 1 hour 14 out of us. But big up to Ben for coming on at 6 o'clock in the morning. Make sure you head over to Red Hot Live and give them boys the love and support they show. Look, normally you go around about 12 o'clock, don't you, Ben? And 6 o'clock. Is that right?
Yeah, so we've got a Cop of the Morning show. That's like a little me, Ross and Millie. So we go around 11 o'clock. One of them always pulls out. Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? And we've got roughly around 7 o'clock we tend to go live. We see who's available. No, but we have a good laugh with it. It's good to catch up with the lads, and as I say, with the people that watch our shows, we try and get them involved in the stuff. So, as I say, the views have gone up. It tells you everything you need to know about the football, doesn't
it? Unks is in the chat. He says, we will regret not signing Semenyo, all thanks to that turnip slot. I cannot grasp why we haven't gotten Gehi already. Uncle Albert with the finishing line. Okay, people, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We'll be back tomorrow as per. And if we sign Lamine Yamal, Gene will go live on the midday show. But until then, take care and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Good night.